Hey, welcome back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the One Body Podcast. I am your co-host, Juice.
And I am Toya. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today we have a really exciting episode just because this is something that we see almost daily in the app messages and on our YouTube comments. So something that we want to discuss and talk about.
When we kind of discussed this topic today, it was like when we go over these topics, we kind of get really into it. Like, and we're almost kind of mimicking the podcast as we're talking about it. And we got like so many kind of good thoughts.
I wish when we talk about it, we could just be recording.
So we're going to try to transition all of those thoughts into this podcast today. But I think it'll be really insightful for a lot of people just because, again, we get this commented a lot on our YouTube channel. We get this asked a lot on our Juice and Toya app. So hopefully by the end of this day, you have a lot of clarity when it comes to this topic. So real quick, housekeeping. Juice and Toya app, go get it. We don't have to talk about it too much.
Yep,
just go get it. Just please go get it. Again, we got a lot of people on there who are enjoying it. We have programs. We have nutrition and recipe information. We have one-on-one messaging, which is the biggest feature on the app. If you need any help or any clarity, you can always reach out to us, and it is us messaging you back one-on-one. So reach out to us if you need any help. But I think it's just a good place to be if you really want to take your fitness to the next level. So check it out. I'll link it right here on the screen if you're watching this, or it's down in the description or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Your first week is free. So we get a lot of people that ask questions about the app, like, is this for me if blah, 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 blah. Go get it for free for 1 week, and then you can see, and also in that week, you can still message us. So in that week trial, you have access to everything. So go try it out, and then if it's not for you, then you know. But please, like, in that week, ask us questions, utilize that messaging feature. We get people that send us questions on Instagram or YouTube, and they have an app membership, and it's like, use that messaging feature. It's really us answering those questions. And so, go check it out. First week is free. And then lastly, our merch. We will drop the link in the description as well to our Lululemon partnered merch. So go check that out as well.
And the one thing I'll add is always suggest any topics that you have for this podcast, especially if you're watching this on YouTube. Drop in the comments and let us know what other information you'd like us to cover, because in the world of health and fitness, there's so much to talk about, so many things that we can really kind of clarify and bring some good information to you. So the more that you kind of suggest some topics for us, I mean, obviously that gives us a lot of content to kind of put out for you. So that's quick. That's it. So
let's get into it.
Let's roll into it. So today's podcast is all about unrealistic expectations. And what we mean by that is, in this day and age, we all want to kind of get fit quick. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to kind of get to where they want to be in the shortest amount of time as possible. And while that is, it can be a good thing. You're ambitious. You want to reach your goal fast. I think in the world of fitness, especially with social media, which we'll get into, it's kind of tainted a little bit, for lack of better words. I think a lot of people have unrealistic expectations when it comes to losing weight, especially. Like, that's a big one. A lot of people think, like, look, I got a birthday in 2 months. I got 60 pounds to lose. And I'm like, no. You know what I mean? And we even get it. We've even gotten it from our clients in the past. They come in and, they wait to the last minute to try to, and it's cool because they look at us as, miracle workers. But at the same time, it's like, we have to be realistic for what is possible, especially when you're talking about two people who love to train people in a way that's sustainable. Whether you're trying to build muscle, lose body fat, lose weight, or whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, we're trying to do it in a way to where you can not only reach that goal, but reach it in a way that it stays that way. You know what I mean? So today's podcast is all about helping you understand what's realistic, helping you navigate through all of the social what's the word I'm looking for? Social influence.
And influence.
You know what I mean? Like just the pressure of what kind of makes you believe what's real and what's not real. So
yeah, and I think also with unrealistic expectations, I think sometimes it makes you forget about the positive or forget about the things that you are accomplishing when achieving a certain goal.
Yeah.
And when you don't achieve that unrealistic goal, you feel like you failed. And so just for example, we'll use our Summer Ready challenge that ended about a month or so ago. Within that challenge, we saw some amazing results. So weight loss, fat loss, and muscle built, yes, but also results of probably hundreds of people that said this is the first time they ever completed a challenge in full.
Yeah.
That in itself speaks to the consistency that you've built. We had so many people that said, wow, I didn't feel like I lost anything on the scale and I was discouraged. Then I looked at my before and after photos and I saw a huge difference. And so we'll get into what that means as well.
Sure.
So not just looking at the scale, but then we also saw people that talked about postural changes, mental health changes in their energy, changes in the way that they move. They decreased pain in their joints. So all of those things that you achieved and that are life-changing accomplishments that literally change the quality of your life. But sometimes if that number on the scale doesn't move, then we feel like we failed. So just kind of looking at what are realistic expectations and just not forgetting that there are other things that you've achieved, but also that you might have achieved a goal that was realistic.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a good point that you mentioned. Like, when you go into a program, you have a main goal, right? So for a lot of people doing this challenge, the whole point of this challenge was to lose fat or to lose just weight in general. Some people just wanted to lose weight and fat. And those are two different things, which we'll get into in this podcast. But everybody comes in with a primary goal, which is lose weight, build muscle, whatever the case may be. But what we like to help people understand is you got to look at all the things that you gain from a program and not just losing the weight. So again, like she said, there are wins in just completing a program, even if you didn't reach that primary goal that you set for yourself. So for example, if let's say someone had a goal to lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks, which is realistic and possible for some people. And they only lost 6. And I only say only because that's what they kind of expressed to us. I only lost 6 pounds. We, as trainers, look at that as
huge accomplishment.
That's great. You lost a pound a week, literally, which is
a lot of weight
and realistic. You know what I mean? So, and then they look at it as like, I only lost 6 pounds. I didn't reach my 10-pound goal, but then they gain muscle, right? They gain confidence. They're more consistent than they've ever been in their entire life, right?
And they lost. If you lost 6 pounds in 6 weeks, you lost more than the average person loses in 6 weeks. Too.
And we always bring this up. If you only lost 6 pounds on the scale, what was your body composition change? Because you might have gained muscle, which could have influenced how much you've technically net loss, right?
Yeah. So, and I just kind of, since you brought that up, we can kind of talk about that really quick too. So you have to look at, are you trying to lose body fat? Or are you trying to lose weight, right? Because sometimes there might be, majority of people are trying to lose body fat, but there might be a case where you need your weight down, period. So whether you're trying to reach a weight class for wrestling or like a competition, you're trying to reach a certain literally number on the scale for whatever reason, that is different than you trying to lose body fat. So first, if you have the ability, I recommend getting a DEXA scan. If you don't have that ability, if it's not offered in your area, you can't afford it, there are other things that you can do to check if you've lost body fat and not just look at the number on the scale. You can look at how your clothes are fitting. You can take comparison photos. You can take measurements with, what's it called? A tape measure. But there are other things that you can do to check body fat loss because especially in females, your weight can change in pounds in a matter of hours. So literally one day I could be 120 and the next day I can be 123. And I literally was in a calorie deficit. I exercised, I drank my water, I got my sleep. So I could look at that and say, I gained 3 pounds of fat overnight. What did I do wrong? When really I'm holding on to water, or I might be inflamed, or there are so many other things that's not body fat.
Or think about it, you eat every day. And that
if you didn't have a bowel movement, like there's so many things that affect your weight on the scale, but not your body fat, right? And so if you are tracking your body fat, that is different than tracking your weight. And so those are just things to keep in mind too, because let's say you took your weight and then in 3 weeks, halfway through a 6-week program, you rechecked your weight and it's up a pound. That can be very discouraging, right? But if you check it literally the next day, it could be down 3 pounds, And so yes, the weight can be important, but we don't want you to get so hung up on the weight that is your motivating or demotivating factor, because there's so many other things that go into the number on the scale.
Yeah.
But also, personally, I don't think it's healthy to be weighing yourself every single day.
No.
That can also create negative impacts. But if you did weigh yourself every single day, you would see that that fluctuation. And then at the end of the day, if the trend is going down, that fluctuation, it's going to do this the rest of your life. It's always going to do that.
For sure. And I think basically what we're trying to say is try to find many different ways to measure yourself, right?
Your progress.
Your progress, right? So whether it's the scale, whether it's tape measure, whether it's at least we've had people, a DEXA scan, or even trying on a pair of jeans that you formerly were able to fit, or just a pair of jeans that you just wear normally, you might just see a difference. And again, we've had even people say they've gained weight throughout a challenge, but everything fits so much differently. And again, that's just all about body composition. And we're going to do we probably should do a podcast just really getting you to understand the power of your body composition, because a lot of people, again, are so obsessed with the scale that they don't even realize the processes that are happening within their body to where their body is changing in so many different ways. So she's mentioned a DEXA scan. And I kind of want to dumb things down because some people, that might be the first time you even heard of a DEXA scan. But basically what a DEXA scan is, it's just like a big body.
Like an MRI machine almost.
Pretty much like an MRI machine. It makes a full body scan, and you can see like a lot of different details. You can see just like your overall body fat. You can see how much your skeletal muscle mass, how much fat are in your limbs, visceral body fat, which is body fat around your organs.
Did you say skeletal muscle mass, and your skeleton?
Yeah, I know what you meant.
What is skeleton?
How much water weight that you have, right? It's very detailed, and it tells you a lot of different things that will kind of break down, all right, how much body fat that you have. And 90% of you who want to lose weight want to lose body fat, right? I want you to understand that when you say you want to lose weight, you want to lose body fat. You're talking about the love handles. You're talking about the fat, what they call the bat wings, right? You're trying to lose. Is that what they call it? I don't know. But that's what you're talking about, right? You're talking about body fat. And some people, again, for health reasons, like she mentioned, you just need to lose weight, period, for the sake of just starting a healthier journey. You know what I mean? So, I think it's a good investment to just try to do a DEXA scan because you can do it. I would say, especially if it's not in your budget, I would say really invest in it and do it once.
Well, while you're saying that, I was going to say, we said MRI machine, it's about $40 to $45. So don't think you're getting like an MRI is expensive.
No, it's not like $1,000.
When he's saying investing, it is, I think the ones here in LA are $45-ish. So I would, somewhere around that price. I wouldn't imagine it being much more than it is here.
For sure.
So investing around $45.
You know what we need to do? We've always said we're going to do this, but we need to do a video of us going to do a DEXA scan, because I think that would really help people see and understand what it is and how it can be beneficial for your journey. So I would recommend, anywhere between, I'd say 8 weeks to 3 months to just do it and just to kind of see your progress.
Because it's so fine tuned that you don't want to go every week to see, what I'm saying? Like you want to be able to like follow a program or do a protocol and then say, okay, I did this. This is the results I got from it. How can I tweak that now?
And how many times have we done a DEXA scan? And we're very naturally competitive people, especially when it comes to our personal progress. But how many times have we done a DEXA scan? We're like, all right, 6 weeks. I'm gonna change this and this. You know what I mean? So it kind of brings everything to the surface. And honestly, if you see anything that you don't like, it'll kind of really kick you into gear and it'll make you want to improve on a lot of these numbers. Health-wise, exactly.
And one thing too, before we go into the next topic on that, is the flip side of, yes, the scale doesn't always portray what your hard work is.
Yeah.
There can be the opposite way too, where after I gave birth, I got down to my pre-pregnancy weight, lower than what I was pre-pregnancy, probably like 3 months after, probably 6 weeks, I was at my pre-pregnancy and then dropped at 3 months. my clothes did not fit the same, as in I couldn't wear them. So you can be lower on the scale and not fit into the jeans that you want to fit and not, have that body that you want to have. So it can be the opposite way too, where yes, my weight had dropped, but that's because I lost a lot of muscle. And so remember that too, where when you're chasing this number on the scale, it can backfire, right? Yeah. And not that I was chasing that number at that time, but I had lost so much muscle because I'd gotten sick after I gave birth to where I couldn't get back into strength training till 4 or 5 months
Almost
after.
5 months.
And so I lost so much muscle to where if I had stepped on the scale, you would think oh, you're happy. You're at the weight that you were pre-pregnancy. I couldn't button up jeans that I wore pre-pregnancy, right? Yeah. So if I'm at the same weight, why aren't the clothes fitting the same? So that just shows you how your body composition really matters. And I remember saying to him, I need to gain 5 pounds in muscle, right? And so sometimes
I never even heard her say that
ever.
Ooh.
And so I was no, if I'm at this weight and I feel like this, I need to put on some weight because I need to build some muscle.
For sure.
So just remember that when you look at the scale, it doesn't give you the full picture. And there's so many times now, especially in the app, that we see people that say I was chasing this number, but I feel good here. Yeah. I don't want to lose more weight because I don't want to lose my muscles.
Yeah. So. And I think that's honestly just a testament of the importance of understanding building muscle and strength is very important. Yeah. I think a lot of people, especially, we see it a lot in just women, they're scared to get bulky. They're scared to look jacked, but you can be strong and put on muscle and not look bulky. You're not going to be a bodybuilder.
I do look a little muscular, but
you're not going to be a bodybuilder, to be honest, from lifting 20-pound weights. And that's the hesitation for a lot of people to even go up in weight sometimes. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. Toya,
that's okay.
Maybe I'll throw some clips on the screen right now. Toya lifts heavy, and you wouldn't look at her and think oh, she's bulky and too muscular, right? And she doesn't train to bodybuild. She trains for it, not anymore. But even when you were training to bodybuild, it was bikini. It wasn't like you were trying to
that's true.
Physique
that's
and stuff,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to build strength and build muscle, because on the flip side of things, for me, when I tore my Achilles 2 years ago, I stepped on the scale maybe 2 or 3 weeks
3 years ago.
Oh my God. It was 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's 2025. Technically, it was the end of 2022.
It's November, yeah.
So 2.5.
Yeah.
Anyways,
long time.
Wow. I lost my train of thought.
Time flies when you're having fun. Building muscle with your Achilles.
But yeah, 2 or 3 weeks after my Achilles surgery, I just mustered up the strength to go step on the scale. I didn't want to do it. But I was like, you know what? I'm getting back into strength training. I'm trying to get back into doing what I can to get back to where I was. And that scale said 181 pounds. And mind you,
which for comparison is
I sit at roughly between 190 and 200, depending on what phase of my life I'm in. Sometimes I'm kind of bulky and want to build strength, but I typically sit around 192. That's my sweet spot. I saw 181 and almost had a panic attack because the first thing that I could think of was I lost so much muscle, and it was only in a small matter of time. I lost it probably over a 5-week period. I feel like I lost all of that muscle mass. So for me, I freaked out. Building muscle and having strength is very important to me, and I felt it. I felt super weak. I felt like I didn't have just the normal strength, and honestly, every day sort of things that I was doing became a lot more difficult. You know what I mean? And granted, I was on one leg, but I just felt weaker. Yeah. You know what I mean? So honestly, just having muscle and building strength is very important just overall. And I just want to throw that in. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but I just wanted to throw that in there, especially as we're talking about body composition. You know what I mean?
And with a lot of the messages that we got after this challenge, especially the ones that were I only saw this or I only saw that. First of all, I want to say we saw a lot of people in the community that were also no, this is a big deal. And lot of people that were encouraging and motivating. So
shout out to y'all,
I do want to shout out to the community on the app, because we love seeing that, because it's one thing for us to say that. And it's no, you have to say that, because no, it's when the community gets behind you and supports you and motivates you, it makes us proud to see that they've
got
learned,
each other's back.
Exactly. Yeah. So we do want to say, though, that when we get those messages, we understand why you're saying that, why you might say, I only lost this, or you might be disappointed. And a lot of that can come from comparisons and comparisons to so many different things. Social media, a huge one, just because you're seeing all of these different body types and you're seeing highlight reels of people's lives that make it look like it's so easy to lose weight or so easy to be lean and be fit. But maybe even comparison to siblings or family members or friends, or maybe you have the pressure of people saying like, you know, you should be doing more to lose weight, or you should be doing this and should be doing that. So comparison or social influence can really
damage
and dampen and just like make you forget what you are achieving. Like we mentioned at the beginning, where it's a big deal to complete a program to its full entirety, right? And so sometimes those pressures or those social influence can really hinder the goals that you are achieving.
Yeah, and examples of social influence can be, and I see this all the time, which, I mean, this is why I struggle to be on social media and specifically like TikTok and Instagram, because I see, one thing I see a lot is like people who, and even trainers where, which is cool, they might have like lost a lot of weight and they've kind of transitioned their lifestyle to the point where they want to teach others just how to be healthy and fit, which I love that, right? But then the problem with that is, right, they lost weight their way. And now they're trying to tell the world, this is the way. You know what I mean? When there's 1,000 ways that you can lose weight, there's 1,000 ways that you can build muscles, 1,000 ways that you can even maintain where you are. And that's what we try to get at is everybody is going to require different things to get to a specific goal. We had, again, when we trained in person, we had 20 plus clients and probably 75% of them had the same goal, right? But did they have the same program?
Nope.
Did they have to eat the same foods, right? Did they have to do the same exercises? No, they had all completely different programs and they went a completely different route. Because
and there's so many things that go into that. So just kind of saying that to say, follow your journey and your path, because comparing yourself to doing what someone else, you don't know their genetics, you don't know their story, you don't know what they tried before that, you don't know what they're doing that they are not telling you that they're doing. So that's a big one. I mean, so many different things. And just also, I do remember there were times where clients would come in and they would say like, they would have a picture of a motivating person that they wanted to look like. And I'm like, oh, I can make you look like that right now. Open up a Facetune app or open up, you know, you can literally shrink in the way
Photoshop you right now.
Photoshopping and just showing them like, look, you don't know when someone posts a picture what they did to look like that, you know? And a lot of it, we see this every single day. A lot of it is just not realistic and not real, you know? And so, yes, there are goals that that are unrealistic and we can get you there. But then as soon as you get there, you're probably going to be at a worse place 2 weeks later than when you started.
For sure. And we say this all the time. We preach sustainability. Like if you want to lose 20 pounds, our mindset is we want you to lose it and keep it off, right? We don't want you to just lose it for your birthday and then you're back to square one in 3 months, right? We want you to be able to change your entire lifestyle. And I've always told people, if you're going to train with me, I don't want to train you forever, right? I want you to reach your goal and I want you to have all the tools you need to be able to maintain it for a lifestyle. I'm trying to teach you 10 years worth of game in 3 months just because I understand the world out there and how kind of everybody sees fitness. And I want you to just to give you the real of what works for you. And that's what I do every day. When I saw a client, I try to analyze like, what is it that they need, right? What is it that's going to help them succeed on a daily basis? Because again, the client that I have coming after them is going to need a completely different program. They're going to need a completely different mindset even when it comes to reaching their goals. So, and
let's talk about why everyone needs different plans.
And
majority of that is everyone's body is different. So there might be people that need assistance from whether it's drugs or supplements or, you know, anything that they need, surgeries, like anything that they might need to help them along their weight loss journey. They may have a metabolic syndrome. They may have insulin, like so many things that they may have that you don't have that might require different interventions than you need, right? And that is their journey and this is your journey, right? At the end of the day, most people just want to be and feel healthy. And there are different requirements that every body, literally your body, physical body needs for that. genetics play a huge role. So one big one, glutes. That is, I've been trying to build my glutes for a very long time,
Years.
guys. I don't have great glute genetics, but what I do have is discipline to go to the gym and follow a program.
Preach.
So I can build my glutes. There are people that don't have to do as much as I do on glute days, and their glutes are going to pop, right?
Or
to me,
one thing I was going to say, she get compliments on her arms. Like, she has great
guys,
arm genetics.
I have great arm genetics.
You know what I mean? Right? So it's
yeah.
like, but again, I can go back to social. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I can go back to social influence. Is when you can, a trainer or somebody in general can have great genetics in certain areas of the body. Now they're trying to coach the world on how to get something that they already was God given.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And so I could look at someone that has great glutes and be like, what's your glute program? I want to follow what you do. And they might only do one glute day a week, and they've got great glutes. That's not enough for me, right? And so this is just an example of how every body is different, and what they do to build their glutes may not work for me. They may not, I need more stimulus. I need more to build my glutes. And the same goes for any physical thing you're trying to achieve with your body. So again, there might be something that someone is doing that you don't need, and there might be something they're not doing that you do need, right? And so this is where supplements is a big one. We get people all the time that ask us, like, what do you think about supplements, GLP-1s, like all these different things? And I'm always going to say the same answer. If you need it, then you take it. I don't know what you need. That you might need different things. That it's not fair for me to say, like, don't ever take this, don't ever do that. And it might be something that you genuinely need, right?
Yeah.
So
and we get even a lot of companies reach out to us, supplement companies, and we've never pulled the trigger on making those partnerships just because we don't really take a lot of supplements, and it wouldn't be fair for us to preach taking this and taking that if that's not even something that we personally do ourselves. And also, again, everybody's body is different. If we come out and say, oh, we take this, a lot of our following is going to take it. They're going to feel the need to take it because there's like, what am I missing out? It's that FOMO, right?
Yeah.
They have this fear of missing out on an advantage that they can take it, something that they can take advantage of, right? So when it comes to just supplements and a lot of things, we always preach, try to get everything through your nutrition. And I think even when it comes to like going to the doctor and getting like your checkups and stuff, like if there's certain things that you're struggling with, like talk to your doctor and say, like, your doctor will tell you, try to implement more of these foods into your diet.
You can do blood work to see what you're missing out on and what you need to implement.
Exactly.
As well.
And start there. And then that way you have a foundation to work with to understand what it is that you need. And then you can go some time and say, all right, I'm not getting enough protein on my diet. I'm not getting enough vitamins in my diet. How can I supplement to where I can efficiently get those things in my system, right? So
and just so keeping that in mind, that everyone's body is physically different. And this is why in the app we get asked all the time, like, what can I take? What can I do? Why am I not looking like this person? Or even within the challenge, we saw people that were like, I lost 10 pounds. And someone's like, oh, what did you do to lose those pounds? I only lost 3. And this to us is like, the person that lost 3, that might be what your body adapted to losing with what you were doing. And it was realistic for your body, where that person that lost 10 might have had more weight to lose or might have lost more water weight. Like there's so many different things that go into it. And we just wish that we could always just say that to people, like, what you did was great, and like, don't lose sight of that and lose sight of what you did achieve while doing that. And more is not always realistic.
For sure.
So just understanding that when the next time you compare yourself to a social media post, a family member, anything, or even me losing weight post baby, there's so many people that I know that they looked a little tighter sooner than I did, or you know, and it would be so easy for me to be like, well, I was working out too and I was doing this, like, why are their abs showing before my abs were showing? And it is easy to do that, just being a human being. But then you have to remember everyone's body is different. That's it. And if you just tell yourself that and just truly mean that and understand that, it might help a little bit of that pressure to achieve so much in so little time to kind of fade away.
And I'll leave it at this, the true testament of why how everybody's body is so different is that's the reason why there's so many different supplements and things on the market, because everybody's body requires different things. There are so many stories that you see on social media that people get influenced by. There are so many methodologies and training ways, right? Just because there's so much out there, and it confuses a lot of people, but it's like that for a reason, because everybody had their way to getting to where they are, right? So understand that, and then the whole point is, and that's why we always mention the word journey, right? This is not just it's not like uniform, right? It's not one size fits all. This is a journey that you have to kind of figure out for yourself and understand what works for you. And then that's how you kind of build upon the goals that you're going to achieve in the future. You know what I mean? So,
and with everyone's body being different, and like you said, there's so many different things. There are some things that no matter your goal, no matter what you're trying to reach, these things are going to be important. And so we kind of want to just talk about like what it does take to reach a goal, regardless of your goal.
Any goal, whether you're trying to lose fat, build muscle, or even maintain where maybe you just got to where you are, you're comfortable, and you're feeling good. Even with maintaining where you are, these are just some key aspects that you must follow in order to kind of get to where you want to be.
So first, what I would say is probably the most important across the board is your nutrition. And just want to cap it at nutrition as a whole, because all of those different goals will require different phases of nutrition. But regardless of what you're trying to achieve, your nutrition is going to play a big role. So fat loss, of course, you're going to need to be in a caloric deficit, but also the type of foods that you're eating are going to matter too, with the way that you feel, helping you with your energy levels, your recovery, and then building muscle. It's going to require a caloric surplus. It's going to require attention to getting in the right amount of protein to help you stimulate that muscle growth. And then maintenance, same thing. You know, your nutrition obviously is a little bit more laxed, but it's still going to be important. And across the board with the goal that you're trying to reach, your nutrition is going to be important for your life, your health, your longevity. So regardless of what goal you're trying to reach, nutrition is important in general to help you feel good and to also help these other components that we're going to talk about, especially recovery. But this is where it's not just calories in, calories out. The type of food that you're eating is going to make a difference too, just in how you're feeling and other aspects of your health and inflammation and just your longevity in general. It's important. Nutrition is really important.
And like I mentioned earlier, it's okay to have that primary goal, right? It's okay to want to lose that 15 pounds or maintain where you are or build 15 pounds of muscle, but understand the secondary goals, or try to have understanding of those secondary goals that come with that, which is just your overall health, making sure your energy is good, making sure you're recovering well, right? Those are the things with nutrition that also are good things, right? That kind of play a role in where you want to be. So understand that, have that goal. Obviously, you want to lose that weight or want to build that muscle, but understand how much the nutrition other than that goal is going to help you out too as well. So the reason we mentioned nutrition first, not to say that it is the most important, but the reason we mention nutrition first is because we get a lot of people who are lost in their journey. And when we get questions, I'd say, I like to put percentages on everything, but I'd say half the people who reach out to us for help when it comes to most likely losing fat or losing weight, they have this whole spiel. You know, they tell us their whole background, which is great because it gives us a lot of information to work with. But the common thing that we usually see is they don't even mention nutrition, right? They're like, I'm stuck, I'm plateauing, I don't know what's going on. I'm working out every day. I'm working out every day, which is great, right? The consistency is there. But where you didn't say anything about your nutrition, right? And that's like the first thing we kind of mentioned. So, and we say, so what is your nutrition like? Or have you been eating at a caloric deficit? And people are like, what is a caloric deficit? And we're like,
we always get also like, I'm working out X amount of times a week. Should I should I do 2 a day?
They're adding more.
That's probably the number one thing we get is should I do 2 a days? And you don't have to do that. You know, a lot of times it's not sustainable and it ends up backfiring because then you become fatigued and then you just quit because you're so exhausted. Of course you are. And so I always tell people, especially when you're trying to lose body fat, you can lose body fat and not exercise a lot.
Say that again?
focus on your nutrition, right?
Wow.
So if you're paying attention to your nutrition, it is possible to lose body fat and just walk.
That's a big,
and just walk, right?
That's a big deal.
Obviously, as you start losing more body fat, then you want to exercise. It's important for a lot of things, especially fat loss, but more than just fat loss, your muscles, your body, your muscles, your joints. But it is possible to lose body fat without this crazy exercise regimen, right? And so when you remember that, then it's like, I don't have to do 2-a-days to lose body fat.
And I'll even say when I tore my Achilles, right, it would have been very easy for me to put on body fat, right? Especially with me not being able to move.
Losing muscle, which decreases your metabolism.
Come on now. Like, I literally wasn't able to move. I probably was able to do 30% of the movement that I was doing before I tore my Achilles. And had I not really focused on my nutrition, I would have gained just a lot more body fat just from just being stationary the whole time, right? So understand that like your nutrition can make a big impact on whether you're trying to build muscle, gain weight, or lose weight. Your nutrition, you can do a lot of that without even factoring in the workouts and the movement, right?
But your nutrition also during that time, which brings me to my next point, helped you with your recovery as well. So making sure you're getting in protein and even more protein then to stimulate your muscles because you couldn't strength train as much. So the next point is your proper recovery. So the nutrition helps in your recovery a lot, but then there's also your sleep. There's also stretching, mobility, just so many aspects of your recovery that make a difference in reaching your goals. So if your recovery is not well, then that's going to impact your exercise. It's going to impact your energy levels. It's going to impact your ability to stay consistent, not just with your program, but also with your nutrition. If you're feeling lazy and fatigued and you're like, I don't feel like cooking, and then you start to order out. So all of these things make a difference and work together.
And I want to stress the importance of active recovery as well, because I think a lot of people think, when it comes to just following a program or just working out every day, you got to just go super hard every day, right? That's not the case. You have to have days where your body needs that rest, and that doesn't mean just not do anything. We try to do some form of active recovery, especially on the days where we're not working out or training hard. So active recovery can just look like going on a walk. That's just a simple way to just get some regeneration. Even honestly, for us, it's mental too as well. Mental recovery is a thing as well too. Because a lot of things that we see on a daily basis, a lot of people just get, especially when you start to get really consistent, you're starting to see results, you're getting excited and you want to just go even harder. How many of you have just really got to that point and then you plateau? Right? And you might be doing all these things right, but you plateau and you don't understand why. A lot of times it's just due to your lack of just recovery, right? So it's very important to just factor in some type of active recovery on a weekly basis. And if there's a day where you got in, like today, was it today? You said you had a heavy lifting day or whatever. Toya was having...
No, I was supposed to run 5 miles
Yeah,
today.
She's supposed to run 5 miles today, and she had some back spasms this morning, right?
Not running 5 miles.
She's not running 5 miles, and this would be a great opportunity for her to do some type of active recovery. I'm going to do a lot of active recovery,
and then I'm going to go on a long walk.
And then maybe tomorrow, if she's feeling good,
then I'll run 5 miles.
She can attack the day, right? So that's just a good example of listening to your body, factoring in some good recovery to make sure that you're heading in the right path. Because like taking that rest day, honestly, is going to help you get over that plateau some days. Whereas some people are like, nah, I got to push through, man. I'm not weak. Like, I got to keep going. No.
And your body will talk to you, because I was just saying, like, I need a deload week. I've been lifting very heavy. I've been progressing. And now my body is telling me, like, you need an active recovery week. So that's really important to just remember that your body will talk to you too. And if you're not taking that recovery, your body will make you take that recovery too.
So we mentioned nutrition. Stay on top of your nutrition. We mentioned proper recovery. The next thing I want to mention is having a proper mindset. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, especially in the world of fitness. When you're starting a program, right, we do this all the time. We start a new program, us personally, at least 3 to 4 times a year. And you get that excitement, right? You're ambitious. And even when we write these workouts for ourselves, sometimes we're just like, we just want to go hard. We just want to really hit the ground running with the program, which is great. But what I tell the people, you got to kind of factor in there's going to be time. You got to be realistic and understand there's going to come a time where it's going to be hard, or things are going to get in the way. The schedule's going to get crazy. Work life's going to get crazy. Social life's going to be factored in, where you have to kind of make some decisions, right? You have to kind of think about those things when you're kind of going into a program, because once you get deep, and I always say between that 3 to 6 week mark is when people start to kind of feel the struggle a little bit, right? And that's where it's important to have a healthy mindset when it comes to your program. So, for example, I was training for the LA Marathon. I was training hard, y'all, like for 2 or 3 months. I didn't even tell nobody I was training. I was just trying to just like really lock in and focus. And then I started to feel some Achilles pain, which I had been working through. It wasn't nothing serious, but I was just like, you know, I really want to just kind of work through it. I took some days off, did some active recovery. I had to kind of push my program back a week, which is, again, that's part of a program. That's why you follow a program. And then I got back into it, right? I was feeling good. I was feeling strong. I ran 10 miles, which I had never done in my life, which was an accomplishment for me. And then the LA wildfires, or the fires, happened to where I just didn't even feel comfortable just going out and running and all the smoke and stuff, right? And at first for me, it was very discouraging, because like I had trained so hard, you know, especially mentally, to kind of, I hate, for the record, I didn't like running, but that was just something I wanted to do because I wanted to overcome that mindset of something that I didn't like. I wanted to make, and I started to learn to enjoy it, right? But it got to a point where I had the Achilles scare, and then the fires, and then it got to a point where I got really discouraged. I could have just shut down and said, you know what, I'm done. Like, I don't want to work out. I don't want to move anymore. And I see this happen a lot with a lot of people, where things get in the way and one thing turns to another, and then they stop, right? And then they go right back to square one. And this is where having a healthy mindset and a strong mindset to just tell yourself, like, look, maybe this goal isn't for me right now, right? I know I had this goal to run the LA Marathon, but maybe my body isn't ready for it. Maybe that's a sign, right? And I'm very heavy in my faith. Maybe it's a sign that I need to push this back and focus on something else. And I shifted my focus toward just building strength, and just, honestly, I got more into just like speed and explosive work. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to revisit this next year. I'm going to try to attack it from a new angle, right? So when it comes to following a program or just going through your journey in general, it's important to make room mentally for the times where you're not going to feel like it, right? There are going to be days where you get off of work and you have a leg day and you just don't feel like it, right? And it's not necessarily that you're tired or sore, but you just have this mindset, like, just don't want to do it. You have to kind of factor in those days early on when you're super ambitious. You got to realize there are going to be some days where you don't feel like it, and having a strong mindset is what gets people to their goal more than anything sometimes, just because you just, you're mentally prepared for whatever, right? Some people go into it ambitious, thinking everything's going to be, you know, sunshine and rainbows. And then the moment they hit a struggle, they're like, they clock out, right? So mindset is very important when following any program and trying to reach any goal. Yep.
And then lastly, having a program to follow. So that mindset comes in handy when you're following this program, because as he said, there are going to be days where you don't feel like it. But then when you have that program, you already know what you're doing. So one of the things that helps those days is, look, my workout's already laid out for me. I just have to show up and do it. The other benefit of having a program is you can see the linear progress, and even if the progress is not linear, you can see the map, the roadmap of how you got to X. And if something didn't work out when you get to X, you can look at that program and say, what didn't work? What can I change? If you're just doing random workouts all the time and then you're not reaching your goal, you don't really know what to change, because you don't know what worked and what didn't work, because everything is so random. So just keeping in mind your nutrition, having a program that you're following, proper recovery, and healthy mindset, no matter what your goal, those 4 pillars are going to be important throughout all of those goals. So if you can be strong in those 4 things, you can be successful in reaching your goals.
And again, we say all of this to say these are what's required to reach any goal that you have. So beyond what's realistic or not realistic, like if you're trying to reach a particular goal, if you're not taking care of every one of these things, then you can't really be mad at yourself for not reaching the goal. But again, there are special cases where you might be doing every one of these things to a T, right? You're following the program, right? You're consistent. Your nutrition is on point. You're very dialed in with your recovery, and you have the strongest mindset ever. And you might still get to a point where you're just not seeing the results, or you might even seeing be just plateauing, right? You're not getting to where you want to be. And that's where sometimes there might be some underlying things going on that you can kind of get checked out. And that's where, once you kind of get all of these things dialed in, that's when you know you're really in tune with your body. You really understand what it is that your body needs. So for us, we've been doing this for years, right? I know when I need protein. Like right now, I need some protein, right? I know when I'm dehydrated. I know when I'm feeling good enough to really, do a heavy leg day, right?
Yeah.
I'm so in tune with my body that I understand what it is that I need in any given moment. And that is the key to being successful toward any goal. And then we'll use you, for example. She was going through a program. She was doing everything right. And when did you get diagnosed?
2020.
This was 2020. She was going through a program. This is October, I believe, of 2020. In October, that's when we lock in the most. For whatever reason, that's like before we get into the holidays, we really like to lock in and go hard. Toya was doing everything right. She was doing her strength training. She was running. She was eating right. Everything was perfect, right? And she started to just feel all these aches, all these pains, all these like different, like even rashes, like things that were going on, to where she was like, I'm doing everything right. Why am I not recovering properly? Why do I not feel good? Why can't I go heavier with all my
I would wake up feeling awful every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And she couldn't understand it because she was doing everything right. She went to the doctor. We got referred. We did all these things. Turns out
that I have lupus.
Right.
And so one of those things though was that when I would go into the doctor and they would say like, oh, are you doing this? And I'd be like, yes. So it was helpful that I had a program and had all of these things because I knew what I was doing that was in the right direction. Right. And so it was helpful to find out all of these things, because then it was like, okay, you're doing all of these things and this isn't working. So let's look at something else, you know? And so, yes, sometimes there are things that you could be doing everything right. And there are things that are out of your control that are hindering your progress. So it allows you to, just kind of see those things and be more in tune with your body too. So again, goals aside, it is helpful to do all of these things just for your lifestyle.
And had she not been in tune with her body, like lupus would have never been a possibility.
Or it would have taken a longer time to find, because they would have told me like, do this and then come back in 6 months, you know? And it's like, it would have just
a whirlwind,
prolonged everything.
For sure.
And then lastly, and then we'll wrap this up, is what is realistic? So just quickly talking about like, okay, all of these things that, we talked about being unrealistic, and we talked about why it might be unrealistic. So when it comes to fat loss, weight loss, I would
even
say
muscle gain.
I would say like fat loss though, first, in a nutshell, if you're losing about 0.5 pound to a pound a week, you're being successful. And I think when people look at that, it's like, that's only about 2 to 4 pounds a month. And that's a lot of weight, right? Obviously, again, kind of going back to this other things we talked about in the podcast, if you've got more weight to lose, that will be quicker. If you've got less weight to lose, that might be a little bit slower. But in general, if you lost 4 pounds in a month, that's big, right? And then if you take that over a course of a year, we've talked about this in another podcast, that's 36 pounds in a year. Most people don't want to lose 36 pounds, but most people don't want to hear that it's going to take them 6 months to a year to lose their weight, right? But that's the thing. It takes time. And if you're doing it in that time, it's realistic. You don't have to continue to just be focusing on losing weight all the time, because once you get there, you can maintain that, right? If you get there in an unrealistic way, you're never going to be able to maintain it, and you're always going to be chasing a new weight loss goal, and that's exhausting. That's exhausting, right? You want to be able to also live. For
sure. And think about it. We've said this in a previous podcast before. You didn't gain that weight, right? You didn't gain 36 pounds in a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you gradually.
It might have taken you a year
to gain that 30, 40 pounds, right? So kind of look at it like that. If it takes you a year to gain the weight, don't expect to take it 3 months to lose it, right? And I understand the mindset that you have. I want it off, right? But honestly, go pick up 5 pounds. go pick up 10 pounds and realize how much weight is coming off of your body, right? Yep. That's a lot of weight. You know what I mean? And people look at weight as just a number on the scale, but when you really pick up the weight and understand how much of that is off of your body now, even if
it's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight. Like we have a little counterbalance right here on it. It's heavy. That's a lot of weight that you can lose off of your body. So
but then on the flip side, building muscle, again, that takes time too. So when people are like, I don't want to lift because I don't want to get bulky, I promise you, by the time you get bulky, you are going to see that you're bulky and stop doing whatever it took for you to get bulky.
You will stop before you even get to that point.
Exactly.
You're not going to wake up one morning and be like SpongeBob when he pumped up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so that's the thing is like that takes time as well. And again, just like losing weight, if you are new to strength training and muscle building, you're going to put on muscle a lot faster than someone who's experienced and is trying to fine tune some things, right? Yeah. So again, all that to say things take time and more time than you think, and be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, but also be proud of yourself for what you're achieving on the journey to reaching that goal as well.
And we'll say this, yes, you can lose a lot of weight in a small period of time. I'm not saying that it's not possible. Like if you got your birthday coming up in 3 months and you're trying to lose 30 pounds, you can, we've done it to our clients before. We've gotten them there, but what happens?
Yep. And you can get ready for something like, again, we've gotten clients ready for shows or films or things that they're doing where they need to be a specific look. And then right after, it's like, we kind of start back at square one, you know, and it doesn't feel good. But sometimes for certain jobs and roles and careers, that's what you have to do. And just, I'll use myself for an example. When I was bodybuilding, I went from 123, which is already, I'm 5'2". So 123 at 5'2" is already like a small size. I went from 123 to 107 in 8 weeks.
Lord Almighty.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm scared.
The weight that I lost. I'm sorry. It was 11 weeks. So 11 weeks I lost. How much weight is that? 123 to 107, 15 pounds.
But that was, and keep in mind, this is also.
I'm already.
When you're already kind of. They always say those last 3 pounds or 5 pounds or body fat, whatever, is the hardest to lose. The smaller you get, the harder it is, right? You can't expect to, it's not a linear thing, right? As you get smaller, the weight that you lose is going to be smaller. Go watch The Biggest Loser, right? I mean, that's probably a terrible example to go watch. But it just goes to say, like, when they first start, right, they see 20 pounds off the scale, 10 pounds off the scale. And then as they get smaller, they're only lose. But again, you got to look at it as a percentage of your actual body weight, which all kind of.
The point of me saying that was 123 to 107. 2 days later, I was 107. 2 days later, I was 115. Right? Lord. And then from there, I got up to 125. A couple of days later. So that I just wanted to show, like, 123 to 107 in 11 weeks. That's a lot of weight when you're already small, but look how fast I put that back on. And I didn't even like go super crazy on the food. I was in such a caloric deficit that I was miserable. I lost my period for 4 months. It was absolutely not sustainable. And then when I put that weight back on, then it messed me up mentally, because I was like, how did I gain so much weight so fast? What am I doing wrong? So all of that to say, you can get down to a certain weight, but how fast will it take you to get back to where you were or even above? And then you're just playing this cycle your whole life, and that's not healthy. It's not sustainable.
No. And it just creates just a lot of different issues. And a big one even is body dysmorphia too as well. So just ask yourself, when it comes to reaching any goal, whether you're trying to lose weight or build muscle, do you want to do it quick and gain it all back? Or do you want to do it in a sustainable way and create a lifestyle change to where you're never going to be that way, or you're never going to be where you first started to begin with? So ask yourself, do I want to keep it off, or do I just want to be temporary and then be back to square one?
And the answer might be the second one if you're trying to get ready for something.
It just depends on what it is. You know what I mean?
But so we just wanted to share like that, what's realistic and that it may not be realistic.
For sure. So we hope you enjoyed this discussion today. Again, we just wanted to kind of give you the overall picture of everything, not only just explaining to you what's realistic, but also just explaining to you what it takes to reach a goal, right? I think a lot of people kind of don't understand. You have to have everything dialed in. You can't get to where you want to be without your nutrition. You're not going to get to where you want to be without dialing in on your workouts, your recovery, or even your mindset, right? So once you put all of those pieces together, you're going to see a complete lifestyle change, right? So that's what we want you to understand, and understand that this is a journey. It's going to take some time to really get all those pieces together. It's not easy. We've been doing this for years, and I feel like within the last 2 or 3 years, I really kind of put the pieces together for myself, right? I struggle with nutrition and not eating the right things, but Toya she'd been preaching to me to eat enough. I wasn't eating enough to sustain just to where I wanted to be, right? So once you put all of those pieces together, you're going to see a lifestyle change that's going to allow you to not only reach your goals, but reach it in a sustainable way to where you can maintain it and then live free and move forward in the positive direction.
Exactly.
So we hope you enjoyed this podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, but also share this podcast with your family or friends or anybody that you think this discussion will be beneficial for, because this is a big topic that, again, the internet has kind of, made unrealistic, and we want to kind of clear the air and make it something that you can understand, kind of dumb it down a little bit to where you really know how to get to where you want to be. So
my biggest takeaway from this too is just reminding you that you are doing enough, and that what you have achieved in reaching that goal is also important. And just honestly, for me, don't just pay attention to the scale, but also paying attention to the positives that are coming from what you're doing to reach a specific goal too. So don't forget to be proud of yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, let's get into a dad joke, and I'm going to say mine first, and then you can say yours. Okay. Why, let me say this right. How did the hairdresser win the race?
Oh, I know this. Actually, I don't know this. Why did the hairdresser win the race?
Or how did the hairdresser win the race? 3.
Man, I know this. It's going to make
2.
me mad. Go ahead.
He had a shortcut. He had a shortcut.
I know this, man. It's so good, and it gets me every time.
Every time. All right.
What does a spy do when they're cold?
What does a spy do when they're cold?
Yeah.
Go undercover.
That's good. You got it. I got to start off with it.
That was a good one. Okay, next.
Why did the golfer bring 2 shirts?
He had a hole in one.
Yep. All right, cool. What did the cake say to the fork when they got into a fight?
What did the cake say to the fork?
When they got into an argument. Oh, you 2 for 2. You go.
What did the cake say to the fork?
5 seconds. You want a piece of me?
So
you want a piece of me?
If you're listening to this, the silence was me questioning my entire life. All right.
I got one more. I got one more. Why did the alphabet have so much mail in the mailbox?
He had a lot of letters.
Yeah, that's easy.
3 for 4 today.
That was good. All
right. Well, thank you I know this one was a little more lengthy.
Man, I think people enjoy the longer ones. This one was just where we had a lot to cover today. But
thank you for joining us today. Again, like we mentioned earlier, check out the app, check out our merch, but also don't forget to leave any topic suggestions that you have for us to do in the future. Perfect timing because Jakai just woke up. So I'm going to try to eat a quick snack. But thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate your time, your support, and we will see you all at the next one.